Welcome, welcome back to Talking Sports alongside Randy Page. This is Rob Layton. Randy, we were talking about the Steelers the last time. What are the concerns going into the opening week against Denver?
The first concern is to Peyton Manning. Peyton is going to want to impress the fans that have been clamoring for a winner. They gave up Tim Tebow. He just beat the Steelers in a playoff game his last time out. It did seem kind of like a harsh thing to trade him to the Jets. But now, when you have the player of the pedigree of Peyton Manning, you had to take that opportunity, and it's going to be strange to see him in the blue and orange as opposed to the blue and white of the Indianapolis Colts, and that's going to be the first big hurdle. And then following that, speaking of the Devil, they host the Jets at Heinz Field, and I think it's going to be Mark Sanchez at quarterback, but it might be Tim Tebow. What would you think? Who should the Jets go for at quarterback in that game?
Well, I think they're going to start with Mark Sanchez, but if he starts to struggle early on, don't be surprised if Rex Ryan puts Tebow in for a few games. See if he can change that offense. And also, Santonio Holmes has been a problem lately for the Jets. Go figure, because he's been critical of the media. The New York said it should be more positive coverage of him, but he's not exactly a team leader, if to be honest with you.
That's why the Steelers did what they did, and unloaded him merely for a fourth-round pick, so that it was pretty much a big deal. Now, we also did discuss some of the camp issues that had come out before. And what's your take on the Steelers training camp battles of 2012?
So far, the major battles will be the running game, and also the defensive line, and also don't be surprised if the punter is a big camp battle, because I wouldn't be surprised if they would let Drew Butler punt to see if he can make it not only with the Steelers but in the NFL.
Well, and it's always interesting to see how camp bodies turn out. Like Sean Swisham was that way back in 05 and 06, and he was able to garner that into a job with the Washington Redskins, and then eventually he became the Steelers kicker after the Steelers decided to part ways with Jeff Reed. And that looking at the camp so far, I know that the Steelers haven't had really a lot of hitting, but it looks like that they are getting ready to, as they're preparing for the 2012 season. What do you look for in their first preseason game against the Eagles next week?
Well, I think the Eagles, you're going to see a lot of vanilla offensively and defensively. You're going to see a lot of players coming in. You might see Jared Johnson play a couple preseason games. He's 6'5", and he has a pretty good arm and pretty good mobility as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he don't make it with the Steelers. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the NFL team somewhere, either as a third quarterback or on the practice squad.
Well, and he could very well be in the Steelers practice squad, depending on how things go in this season. And there are a lot of there are 80 some odd players in camp right now, and only 53 will make the active roster, and that there will be a lot of guys who, if they impress here, will get an opportunity to be on the practice squad, and that if certain circumstances or injuries come about, they could get signed to the big roster.
Okay, outside of Denver, what is the regular season game that concerns you the most?
And looking at that, I gotta say I'm thinking it will have to be that stretch in late October, early November, where they will host the Washington Redskins on October 28th, and there is a lot of hype going on about Robert Griffin III, and they figure, the Washington fans feel RG3 could be the one that leads the Redskins back to the glory days that they. There was a little blip of it back in 04 and 05 when Joe Gibbs made a comeback, but they never did get to a Super Bowl that way, and a lot of folks think that he may be the one that brings the Skins back to the Super Bowl, but there are going to be three other teams in the NFC East that will have something to say about that, including the Steelers' following opponent on November 4th, the defending world champion New York Giants at the MetLife Stadium, and that is going to be, I think, the Steelers' toughest game outside of the division. Of course, the two games with the Ravens are going to be battles, and then Cincinnati is looking to rebound after getting beat by the Steelers twice last year, and the same with the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns did give the Steelers a heck of a headache on the Thursday night game last year. Of course, that was with a different coach, and then Of course, Ben was hobbled with the ankle injury, but the Steelers found a way to pull through, and that the Browns are looking to improve, and I mean they've been looking to improve for many years, but there's something up in a lot of talk in Berea that they may have the formula. Now, I'm not sure if Pat Shurmur has that formula, but he's got the opportunity now, so let's see what he does with it.
Okay then, let's transition to the Pirates. Do you think the Pirates will get a bat before the July 31st trading deadline?
I really don't think that they will get a bat. I know that there has been talk of trying to get a guy like a Hunter Pence, but I think the price is too much. And I got to say that, what is your take on the Wandy Rodriguez situation, him getting picked up by the Pirates?
Pretty good move, outstanding left-handed pitcher, will eat up innings, able to be an outstanding pitcher. And I think the Pirates is going to help them down the stretch because they need quality left-handed pitching. And there's also been talk that they're trying to might get another pitcher for their bullpen.
Well, that remains to be seen. And being that the bullpen has been a strength for the Pirates this season, it's who would you throw out of the bullpen? There really hasn't been anybody who has struggled for a long time in the bullpen. I know that Risa, Tony Watson, and even Kevin Correa on Sunday had his first bullpen outing of the season. But I think the bullpen is very stable, and that it's going to be interesting to see what do you think it's going to take for the Pirates to win this division, being that Cincinnati is playing lights out baseball right now.
Well, the Pirates have a 3-game series against the Reds this coming weekend, and I think if the Pirates can just sweep the Reds, I think it'll make the Reds think that it's going to be a very tough race down the stretch. And remember, the Pirates also play them in Cincinnati at the Great American Ballpark in mid-September. So they got 2 tough series with the Reds left.
Well, yeah, in Cincinnati, and of course the final weekend of the season, the Reds, those last 6 home games, 3 against the Reds at PNC Park over the weekend, and then October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd against the Atlanta Braves, and that could very well wind up being the battle for home field for the wild card game, but that remains to be seen, and a lot can happen between now and September. Just remember last year the Pirates were in first place even after the Meals call, and then after dropping 3 to Philadelphia, that's where the house of cards finally crumbled to 8-22 in the month of August, and the Bucks definitely will need to improve on that as in August of 2012.
Okay, let's transition to college football here. Pitt has a new head coach in Paul Chryst. Penn State has a new coach in Bill O'Brien, and with all the NCAA rules violations they had to deal with the Jerry Sandusky trial, and West Virginia is going to the Big 12. Which local area college team will have a successful season?
Well, I think if you look at all 3 of those teams, I have to say the Panthers have the best shot of having a successful season, just because you look at the out of conference schedule, and I mean it's filled with some lower level teams. They're open the season against Youngstown State, and while they will get Virginia Tech at Heinz Field, they follow up with that with a game against Gardner-Webb. There's also the University of Buffalo out of the MAC conference that they'll have, and then you look at the diluted Big East conference. They will get one last shot at Syracuse before they join the Cuse in the ACC, but the Big East is if a lot of people thought it was weak before, and I think it hasn't gotten any stronger as this year goes on. Now, West Virginia has the potential to be a great team, but they are playing up. I mean, their level of competition has increased, I'd say triple the level of competition now that they're in the Big 12. And they look very impressive in throttling Syracuse at the Orange Bowl. Clemson. I got my oranges all mixed up, but they had a great game throttling Clemson at the Orange Bowl last year, and that it'll be very interesting to see how they do against the likes of Texas and Missouri and all those other teams in the Big 12. And Penn State, it's going to be a very interesting year. I mean, this is the first year in 45 without Joe Paterno, and then of course the whole everything about the program has been cast over with a fine-tooth comb over the last few weeks because of all that's going on. over the last year with the accusations and the alleged cover-up of things by the previous administration. It'll be very interesting. Coach O'Brien is being put into a position that I don't envy him. I think it's going to be a very tough position, and I think being that half of the team, at least 30 some odd players, have said that they are going to stay, that does give him a little bit of. He's doing a great job there and trying to keep those guys, especially considering the NCAA waived all transfer rules for this year, and that. If Penn State does have a winning season, I think those that follow the football program would be happy with the winning season this year.
Okay, then, what do you think about the NCAA's punishment of Penn State? 4 years no bowl, 5 years probation.
Well, it's certainly it is justified, just considering all the things. Now, I am going to take the current president of Penn State, Rodney Erickson, at his word that it's pretty much the NCAA had him against the wall. It's like, okay, you could take this or you could take the death penalty. And just considering how SMU is still suffering from the remnants of the death penalty, being the only NCAA program to do so, I think Erickson took the deal that was on the table, and that it's very tough. And I mean, it is good to hear that the $60 million fine that they have been levied will go toward anti-child abuse programs, and but nothing will change what happened to all those boys that were molested by Jerry Sandusky, and that's the saddest part of the whole thing. And of course, Penn State's big problem, it wasn't the crime itself, but it was the cover-up. And I mean, to cover up such a heinous crime, makes it even worse, and that's just such a sad story all around.
Okay, then. For Randy Page, this is Rob Layton talking sports, and we'll see you next time.